and welcome to this week's episode of The Lorraine Murphy Show. Now, I've got quite a fun episode for you today because I was thinking, wouldn't it be fun to create an episode where I share the business advice that I share most often with my mentees and Bold Darling Mastermind. So that's what I'm sharing with you today. I went back through all of my Lorraineisms and I'm pulling them together for you today and obviously unpacking them a little so you know what I'm talking about when I talk about them. Now, before I kick into these 6 gems, I want to first remind you that at the moment I am running my Success Without Sacrifice Masterclasses. So I'm running it 3 times over these few weeks. And in it, I am unpacking the exact framework that you can follow. I'm gifting it to you as my 2026 gift to you, the exact framework to help you build a business that is very successful, but also enables you to have the life that you wish to live as well. So that is available right now. It is completely free. It's a 1-hour masterclass. There's a couple of daytime spots and 1 evening spot, and I would really love to have you joining me on that. The other thing to tell you as well is that doors to my Bold Darling Mastermind are open. Right now, we only open them twice a year, and that is the time that we are in right now. So you've been craving the strategy, the accountability, the structure, and the support from me and a group of wonderful, like-minded women. That is your place to go right now. Doors are open until the end of March, and you can find out all the things at bolddarling.com. And I'll put links to the Success Without Sacrifice Masterclass and also Bold Darling Mastermind in the show notes for you as well. So today you're going to be treated to some Lorraineisms. And the first one that I'm going to share with you is you are not special. Now, before you get offended or I get your hackles up, please let me explain first. When I say this to a mentee, it's usually because what she is, in Ireland, we would just say that someone is up to high dough. And up to high dough means that they're wound up, they're stressed out, they might be wigging out about something or other. So I say this to a mentee when she's up to high dough. And the reason I say that is that it kind of breaks the pattern, if that makes sense, because I think she's waiting for me to join the pity party. And I say, oh, you're not special, sorry. And she kind of looks at me going, sorry, what? So the reason I first of all say it is to, as I said, to break that pattern, to snap her out of that, that spiral that she's obviously heading down. And the reason I say it as well is to break the pattern first and foremost, but also because I think there's something so incredibly reassuring about knowing that no matter what the problem is, whether it's a team drama or there's been a launch wobble or there's fear around cash flow, or imposter syndrome, or boundary issues, or just, drowning in overwhelm. I think it's a really nice thing to know that so many other people have been exactly where you are right now. So I know for me, when I'm going through a challenging time and someone shares, oh, I had that exact challenge as well, it just makes me feel, okay, it's not just me. It means, and it helps her know, she's not broken, she's not incapable, she's not exceptional. She's just growing a business and is experiencing a completely normal growth edge at that particular time. And you can too, because I think there's something so actually empowering, even if you're in the shit with a particular problem, of going, okay, it's not just me. It's all part of the path. This is okay. So I find that you're not special really diffuses the tension and the pending drama that can come up when someone is faced with a big challenge in their business. My second nugget of advice is that growth cannot coexist with comfort. And with this one, this is not mine. I can't claim this one. This is one of my brilliant friends, Jack Delosa, shared this with me many, many years ago. He was pretty much my first business mentor when I started my first business 14 years ago. And he said this to me, and I've just sat with it ever since. I just love it. And I wheel it out both for my own personal use whenever I need to, but also for my mentees as well. Because often when a mentee is feeling anxious, she's feeling stretched, she's on edge, she's waking up at 3 a.m. stressing about something, she thinks that something has gone wrong. And she thinks, oh shit, it shouldn't be this hard. And then she starts to spiral and thinks, oh, this isn't the space for me. I'm not cut out to be a business owner. It all flows from there. So what I really love about Jack's quote is that it makes me, when I'm in a tight spot, And it also makes my mentees, when they're in a tight spot, to realize like it's okay. If I'm feeling uncomfortable right now, that's completely fine. And actually, that's what I should be feeling because it means I'm growing. So I want to share that one with you as part of today's episode because I know that many of you listening will be in your own kind of tight spot with something at the moment. Maybe for you, it's a client issue. Maybe it's a cash flow issue. Maybe your sales aren't converting like they have or you want them to. All of us are going to have our own unique set of issues right now. What's important is that we learn from the issues and we find a better way and a smoother way to move forward. And I think so much of the stress in business comes from feeling that you need to figure it all out by yourself. And that's why mentoring and coaching has been not even invaluable financially for me, but invaluable for me time-wise, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, those different mentors and coaches have probably helped me shave 10 to 12 years off what it would have taken me to do figuring it all out by myself. And actually going one step further, they're probably the only reason I'm actually in business this many years later, 14 years later, because it would have gotten so hard by myself that I would have just thrown in the towel. And God knows I was very tempted to do that many, many times. So if you are in this tight spot right now, it might just be a sign that you're stepping into this next level of leadership. So it's not necessarily the tension or the tight spot that you're in right now is wrong. It's probably just that it's growth. And as I said, it's not necessarily the number of challenges we encounter within business. It's how we respond to those challenges and how we prevent those challenges happening again. So I know for me, if I make a mistake once, it's annoying, but I'll make a plan and I'll move through it. But if I make that same mistake 2 times, I'm like, oh, Lorraine, fuck's sake. And if it's 3 times, well, heaven help me. So that's the idea, yeah? If you're feeling tight or you're feeling stretched or you're feeling like this is now starting to land in the too hard basket, first of all, it just means that you found a growth edge and you're growing. And second of all, you don't need to figure all this out. There are dozens, if not hundreds of other women and men around you who have navigated this exact problem that you have right now. So as you're walking or you're driving the car or you're washing dishes or whatever you're doing right now, I just ask you to think about what's a live problem for you now? Like what's that thing that it's a real block, it's holding you back, you're feeling really challenged with it. And then I want to remind you, this is okay. You're in your growth edge right now. And then I also want to remind you that it's okay that someone else has navigated it before, which means that you can too. And the hack is trying to find those people who can help us. Just evolving. Nothing's wrong. You're just evolving. All right. My third piece of business advice. God, my mentees would be so sick of hearing me talk about this one. We need to build a container for ourselves before we build a container for the business. So what I mean by this is women generally want a bigger business. They probably don't want bigger stress, but they do want bigger revenue, and they more than likely want even a slightly bigger team. They want bigger projects, more visibility, more impact. They want to build a bigger business. But when they try to build a bigger business before they have first expanded themselves, we run into a problem because scaling becomes unstable. And as it grows, we start to self-sabotage and the growth won't happen. So we need to first do, and when I talk about building a bigger container for ourselves personally, what I mean by that is we need to build our mindset, we need to build our energy, we need to build our strategy, we need to build our scaffolding. A Bold Darling member mentioned this to me today and I loved it, the idea of scaffolding, like building those things around us in business and in life that enable us to show up and be and do all the things that we want to do. So we need to first build that container for ourselves. Because what happens is if we don't first do that, we have speed wobbles as we're scaling and the wheels might start to come off and we might start to grow the business and go, holy fuck, this is way too hard. I'm dialing it right back again. This is too difficult. So that primary shift before anything grows in the business needs to happen first and foremost with the founder. And what I mean by that, it's you becoming the woman who can hold the bigger money, hold the bigger decisions, hold a bigger leadership, hold a bigger risk, hold a bigger team, hold a bigger visibility. You need to become the woman who can hold all of that. And the way to do that then is to do that inner work, whether it's coaching, mentoring, psychology, hypnosis, whatever you need to do do whatever you need to do in order to hold that bigger container for the business. Because then if you do that, the business then will very organically rise to meet you. And I have seen women grow incredibly quickly in their businesses and hold that because they have been doing the work on themselves alongside that. So I've got a mentee who is on $1 million in revenue just 2 years into her business. I've got another mentee who just clicked over $2 million 2.5 years into her first business. These are the women who are doing the work alongside the growing of the business. So when I do work with my Bold Darling Mastermind, for example, we're not just talking about scaling and how to grow, dial up marketing and dial up finance and all of the things. We're actually allocating just as much, if not actually more time in Bold Darling to growing the founder and expanding her, because I know that once we do that successfully, her business will expand almost without effort. Well, still effort, but it's not going to be that grindy, doors slamming in your face. Yeah, kind of that sandpaper experience where everything feels grindy and difficult. It's a much smoother and more leveled out and even experience. My fourth piece of advice. Oh, I use this one a lot. And I actually use this one a lot, particularly relating to team challenges. And it is, the standards you walk past are the standards you are prepared to accept. Now, I have blabbered this one since I actually had my first business, probably 12, 13, 14 years ago. And I never actually knew the origin, but when I was researching this episode, I was like, okay, I need to actually find out who said that. So it was actually David Morrison, who's the former Chief of Army in Australia. And he apparently became widely known for his leadership around culture and also accountability as well. So I have used this one so many times myself with my own teams, and also I've used it with so many mentees and their teams as well. So the principle is, if you walk past a standard, so let's say someone on your team is behaving in a particular way or completing a task in a certain way, and it's not being done how you know it should be done, but you walk past. You don't say anything, it doesn't get raised, it's never addressed. The unsaid and the unspoken agreement between you and that team member and other team members, if you also have others, is that that's okay. That's the standard that this founder is willing to accept. So we can keep operating at that level. So this one, if you're not hot on this one, it can actually happen very quickly, that standards decline in a business very, very quickly. So it may be a small performance issue, like it's so tiny that you don't even feel like you should mention it. It could be a very subtle attitude shift. Nothing has been done wrong per se, but there's a vibe. We women are highly intuitive. We know when there's a vibe. And it may be that there was a missed deadline. And it could be that there was a communication lapse. All these different things that you could just walk past. But if you do consistently walk past these things, what you are communicating to your team is it's okay. And we can talk ourselves out of this, particularly if we're in the earlier stages of our leadership journey. We might say that we don't want to make a fuss. We don't want the team member. And, I'm relating this very much back to team. This can happen with clients as well, in terms of how clients treat us and treat our teams. So we can just tell ourselves, we don't want to make a fuss, or we don't want to be seen to be like nitpicky. We don't want to be seen to be over controlling. We don't want to make it awkward. What happens when we do that is that if it's a client issue, maybe scope creep starts to kick in, where something that was meant to take 10 hours is now taking 15 hours, but there's no extra money or conversation happening around that. And what happens then is the issue grows. Maybe resentment starts to build on your side and the other person's side, or maybe multiple other sides. And then suddenly then you as the founder start to feel really exhausted, really unsupported. And this thing that started out so tiny and so small and almost so imperceptibly turns out to be a really fucking big thing that's stopping you from sleeping. That's dominating your waking thoughts. And you're constantly, tossing it over in your mind as to, how do I address this? How do I move forward on this? How do I start the conversation now? Because I haven't addressed it proactively for so long. So 9 times out of 10, if you are having what seems to be a people problem, it's probably not that. It's more of a standards problem. And this applies to client boundaries. It applies to the boundaries that we hold with ourselves. How many times do we walk past our own standards when we say we're going to do something this week and we don't get it done? Which is why accountability, external accountability is so powerful. And it may creep in with the quality of the content that you're putting out for your business. And it may be the operational elegance and excellence that you normally would put out as part of your business or ensure as part of your business is slipping. It may be that the financial discipline is waning. Maybe you're veering off your budget a little bit too often, or debt is starting to mount up. These standards, I've set this up very much talking about people and team, but it can be just as easily applicable to the other areas that we're speaking about here. So when we talk about, defining and upholding your standards, it's not about being harsh or being unnecessarily difficult or irritating. It's just about having that clarity, and creating that clarity that this is the standard that I expect within my business across, XYZ different area. And it's really about you stepping into your power as a leader. The fifth piece of advice that I share all the time is if it was easy, everyone would do it. So if you do already have a business, you're probably nodding sagely along as I'm saying that right now. But I do pull this out a lot, particularly when a mentee is deep in the growing pains of a business. And that's all it is. It's just growing pains. This one relates back to the, growth cannot coexist with comfort point as well. So they might be feeling really stretched. They might be feeling really tired. They might be questioning everything. I've had a number of mentees get on our call and they're like, I'm having an existential crisis. I need your help today. And, if you're like most business owners who've been in business more than 5 years, you've probably opened up Seek at some stage and had a little look-see to see what kind of jobs you might be able to pick up. And I've done it myself. I remember years ago, I don't think I've done it in this business actually, but I remember doing it a couple of times in my first business going, it would just be so much easier to be someone's employee and them to give me my nice salary every fortnight or month, and I just don't have any of the responsibility. And ultimately, I was joking about this with my Magnificence program group. I think it was on our retreat last year, and we were like falling around the place laughing at just how unemployable we all are at this stage. After most of them have been in business 10 years. Yeah, a few are kind of earlier, but we are unemployable at this stage. We are too used to the flexibility and the opportunity and the thrill and the excitement now of having our own businesses that I don't think anyone would actually hire us at this stage. But to get serious for a second, business is not the easiest path. If it was easy, it would be your neighbor would have a business, your mom would have a business, your siblings would have businesses, everyone and their mother would have a business. So it really is not the easiest path. But in my experience, it is definitely the most spacious path when it is done well. I need to be really clear on that. And what I mean by well, it's not ticking best practice boxes for some external measure of success. It's designing your business. And I talked recently in an episode about, the architecture of our business supporting us. It's designing your business in a way that enables you to pursue and enjoy the life that you dream of having. So for me, definitely the most spacious path. It is definitely the most profitable path. It is definitely the most abundant path. It is definitely the most flexible path. But it's not the easiest path. If you're growing a business consistently and staying at that growth edge pretty consistently, it is not the easiest path. And entrepreneurship, I really do believe it requires something different. You need to have such a high tolerance for uncertainty. You need to have epic resilience. You need to be able to magic a vision out of nowhere and then bring other people on that path to that vision with you. And you need to be able to self-lead like an absolute mofo. You need to be able to primarily be accountable to yourself. And that is not an easy path. And a lot of people, I remember starting my business at the very same time as someone else. She was a recruiter. She was so good at what she did, like by far the biggest, highest commission in the recruitment firm that she was in. And we started together. We talked about getting an office together for a bit. We were in a mastermind together. And about 6 months in, after us both starting pretty much the same month, she just kind of started to drop off the radar. She stopped coming to the mastermind meetings. And I remember checking in with her and saying, look, are you okay? Like, I haven't actually heard for a while. And she said, look, I've actually just realized I think I'd be happier being an employee. Like, I don't love business enough to do this. And that's completely fair enough. And I remember at the time, I really applauded her for making that decision, because I think entrepreneurship can be so glamorized and it's almost painted as this exclusive club that, only some people get to join. But it's genuinely not for everyone. So the goal that I have within my work is to, if someone is choosing the entrepreneurial path, not the easiest path, that with the tools that I can give them, with the hard-earned experience I can pass back to them, with the structure, with the experience, with the connection with other women who are on a similar path, which in itself is like medicine, that I can smooth the way for them as much as possible. I remember when I hit my first 6-figure month back in 2023, and my coach at the time said to me, you are part of a very small club now. She said there's very few business owners who get to this level of financial reward in their businesses. And sadly, especially female entrepreneurs, because women, from what I've researched, have more longevity owning businesses, but men are prepared to take bigger risks and then, as a result, tend to get the bigger rewards. And I'm generalizing massively there, yes, but that's, from my perceptions of what I've observed in this world over the last, 16 years, 15 years. So with business owners, they're not necessarily the loudest person in the room. They're probably not going to be the smartest person in the room if we're doing our jobs properly. We've got people around us who are a lot smarter than us. But there's something in them. It's an itch. It's a need to build. It's like this thirst to go create. And that is an incredibly rewarding and exciting and fulfilling path that I'm myself on. But I don't think it's for everyone, and I don't think it's the easiest path. So remembering, if things are getting hard in your business right now, if it was easy, everyone would do it. All right, my last one. This is a true Blue Lorraine one. If your energy is good, your business is good. This one is an absolute non-negotiable for me. And I wheel it out when I see a mentee start to tip into resentment, tip into overwhelm, or if a woman comes to me after experiencing burnout. So I've had a number of mentees come to me who have in the past experienced burnout, and almost their express intention from working with me is that they can grow their business but not end up back where they have been in the past again. They just don't want to go back there. So I have worked with one mentee who I still work with. She had a stroke at the age of 34. I've worked with other women who were diagnosed with burnout and spent years rebuilding their nervous systems after that. And when they start working with me, and understandably, they are absolutely petrified of going back to that place again. So it really matters deeply to me, for every founder, but particularly those women, that they build a successful business, they build wealth, and that critically that they stay well as well. And they have, which has been really, really wonderful to see. So your energy as the founder is the electricity that your business runs off. So we need to think very carefully about what kind of electricity are we generating for our businesses right now. So if this electricity is kind of a bit heavy, resentful, bit tired, bit jaded, bit burnt out, that's the exact energy and the electricity that your business is going to run on. If your energy is energized, optimistic, playing to win, resilient, really solid and grounded in yourself, well, that's exactly the energy that your business is going to run off. And this is the electricity and this energy that your clients feel. It's what your team feels. It's what your marketing carries. I can almost sense people's energy now in their marketing and how they're showing up on camera. I can tell, are they in this or are they not? And it's also, it's probably the most confronting one. It's the energy that your bank account responds to. When I am sitting like I'm sitting today, slept really well last night, I've eaten great food, got exciting weekend plans to look forward to, loving my work, have had a really fulfilling week in the business, exercising well, kids are great. That's the energy that I'm bringing into this chair and into this podcast interview to you. So I am so mindful, having had several real dips in terms of my energy and my mindset over the years. I can almost trace back, there's like maybe a 2-month lag. If I'm in not a good space, there's a 2-month lag that my numbers reflect, 2 months ago I wasn't in a great place. Sales start to slow down, churn starts to increase on my containers, and yeah, the inquiries aren't coming in for things. Everything just seems like it starts to slow down and grind to a halt. And what I will also say is that there's it's almost like the universe has a built-in safety catch. That if you are sitting there in your business feeling overwhelmed and I've already got so much work to do, I don't know how I'm going to get through all of this, the universe listens to that and it says, oh, that woman, she's already at capacity. We shouldn't send her any new sales inquiries. We shouldn't get those clients to convert because she's already overwhelmed. So this is the other reason to be very mindful of your energy, because we are almost unconsciously repelling abundance and success and opportunity because we are not in a space where we can already hold what we have already. So really think about this. If you are listening to this right now, and again, this is never about creating shame or stressing you out or anything like this. It's just about it's very gentle awareness building. If you're feeling depleted or resentful, or you're feeling wired, or you feel like you're constantly, I was talking to a mentee last year, and I was saying it was like this bracing energy she had. She was like holding on, white knuckle, just waiting for the next thing to hit. And then when you're waiting for the next thing to hit, guess what happens? The next thing hits, because you create that reality with the thoughts that you're putting out there. So I think this is something that we have gotten wrong for many, many years, because we've bought into this masculine, hyper-masculine, go hard, success at all costs, that whole narrative. It's about pushing harder, sleeping less, prove yourself, just that success at all costs type vibe. And I just think it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And it makes me angry because I have seen so many brilliant women burn themselves into the ground trying to prove to themselves and to others that they are serious about their businesses. And that philosophy it's the seed of everything I have built in this second business. It's the reason that Bold Darling exists. It's the reason that this new Success Without Sacrifice Masterclass exists. It's the reason that this podcast exists, because I want to share with you that it doesn't need to feel that way. And I have just zero interest in helping women make more money if it's going to involve stress on their marriage, pulling them away from their presence with their kids, their joy, their health. It's just not worth it. There's no money in the world that is worth it to have that level of impact on a woman's life. It's not worth it. Just unsubscribe. We are opting out. So we get to have all those beautiful things, and we get to build these incredible, spacious, abundant, profitable, fun businesses. You get to have both. And that's why I say that about your energy is the electricity your business runs off. The better quality you can make that electricity, the better for your business. Everyone stands to win from your energy being better. Absolutely everyone in your world. So there you have it. The 6 things that Lorraine says on repeat. So just to recap quickly, you're not special. Growth cannot coexist with comfort. Build a container for yourself before you build a container for the business. The standards you walk past are the standards you are prepared to accept. If it was easy, everyone and their mother would do it. And if your energy is good, your business is good. So these come from easily thousands of conversations now with female founders, and they're the patterns. And as you've probably seen, none of this and the advice that I'm sharing as part of today's episode is about working harder. It's about leadership. It's about capacity. It's about your energy. It's about self-responsibility and self-leadership. And it's designing a business that actually supports the woman who's leading it. So if you're listening and thinking, oh my God, I know I'm capable of more. Or you might be feeling, I know I've been tolerating things that I shouldn't and it's time for things to change. Or maybe I'm ready to grow, I'm ready to start, I'm ready to scale, but I want to do it well. You are going to love my Success Without Sacrifice Masterclass. So this is a free 1-hour masterclass. I'm running it over Zoom. There are 3 outings for it this month in March, and it is, as I said, completely free. In it, I'm sharing some really key frameworks and some really big reframes as well. So I actually ran this session last year and had incredible feedback. I know so many women, purely based on that free 1-hour masterclass, went on to make so many changes in their businesses and their lives. So there's a lot in there. So you can register right now. Just go to lorrainemurphy.com.au/SWS and you can register there. And also reminding you that doors to my Bold Darling Mastermind are open. We only open them twice a year and they're open right now. So just until Thursday, the 26th of March. So if you're ready for proximity to me, mentorship, accountability, structure, support, and community, really feeling plugged into a group of dynamic, beautiful women who want the exact same things you do, i.e. successful business without sacrificing yourself in the process, and you will absolutely love Bold Darling. So you can find out all about it at bolddarling.com. Thank you so much for joining this week's episode. It's been an absolute delight to be with you, and I will see you again next week.